Hi, this is Chatterboxing. I'm Sean, and this is a breakdown, prediction, preview of James Degale and Badou Jack. I've got Sean with me here again, so we're going to discuss this fight and give our predictions on it. So, Sean, how's it going, mate?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Nice way to start the week. Got a good fight coming up.
Yeah,
Very exciting. Obviously, it's over in the US, so it's going to get a lot of publicity. Going to have a lot of UK fans staying up for it.
yeah,
Myself definitely being one.
yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, to be honest, mate, it depends. I might even sort of get up early for it. I mean, I'm sort of a bit lightweight these days. Depends if I go out, then I'll stay up and watch it. But if I don't, then I might just sort of get a few hours kip, wake up early morning and watch it. Because it's going to be late, and it's like Las Vegas, so it's going to be like 7 in the morning, and it is for me here anyway. It's a bit later.
Yeah, that could be an idea for myself actually. I hadn't necessarily thought of that, but yeah, I'll have a get up early one as well.
And go
Yeah,
back to bed after.
yeah, maybe. We'll see. We'll see. So, anyway, what are you thinking about both fighters upcoming to the fight?
Um, yeah, it's a good fight, isn't it? It's very difficult, really, to not very difficult to predict, but difficult to put that much between them. And I say James DeGale is more talented, and if this had been like I don't know, 18 months ago, definitely everybody would have picked him. I think. Badou Jack, as most people are saying, he's been getting better recently. He's obviously with Floyd Mayweather, isn't he? So you'd think that that's going to rub off on him, that kind of work ethic, that kind of professionalism, and it's probably going to do wonders for his defence as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think the best thing about this fight is we've got essentially what is the number one in James DeGale, and then the number two in Badou Jack.
Yeah,
What's also interesting about the fight, specifically for me, as I said, I think it being over in the US is going to be very interesting because simply just of how the kind of political judging can go in the home fighter's country. For a start, I'm just going to add that in just for a first bit, and secondly, like you said, now he's fighting under Floyd Mayweather. Does that add to essentially the popularity and kind of more
possibly.
positive thinking of the judging towards Badou Jack?
Well, yeah, but I mean, they're two European fighters based in America, aren't they? I mean, Badou Jack's been based out there a bit longer,
Exactly.
but I mean, well, actually, he's fought his last fight was in out of his last three fights. James Neal, he's had two in America, one in Canada. So he's kind of based out in America anyway, isn't he? And Badou Jack, I'm not sure how long he's been based out in America, but he's not from America.
No, he's Swedish. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the fact that he's with Floyd Mayweather is definitely going to make him a little bit more of a home fighter, so to speak. But I don't think it's going to be like the Andre Ward thing. When Andre Ward was he's an American gold medalist. He's very popular over there. He's always been, despite what he would have us believe, quite privileged. He's had everything in fight. He's used to fighting in his own city. He was fighting against a Russian who's not particularly well liked. So, and also Andre Ward is very, very highly rated. So literally every time he throws a jab, you've got some people telling you it's the most amazing thing they've ever seen.
Yeah.
So I think that may have a knock-on effect with the judges. I don't see that really being a factor with Badou Jack, to be honest with you.
Not necessarily. It was more of kind of a throw out there comment, being under Floyd
Yeah.
Mayweather. I just think that possibly could go towards his favour.
Yeah.
I don't know. Something interesting to move on to would probably be to look into the three biggest wins that both fighters have got. I mean,
Yeah.
like for me, I'd say for Degale, Durrell, obviously his best win, and then you've got Butte, and then who would you really put after that? I mean, would you put Medina? Like,
Well, Medina. I mean, he was the big favourite now, wasn't he? I'd say Medina, like Gonzalez, Medina, like Paul Smith. I mean, they're all kind of the same level, really, aren't they?
well, Paul Smith was a long time ago. Let's not forget.
Yeah.
It was quite a long time ago, so I'm keeping it more recent than anything else.
Yeah. I'd say the two standout ones would be Butte and Durrell.
Absolutely.
I'd put probably Porky Medina more or less on a level with Brandon Gonzalez, which was was that just before Andre Dirrell? When he fought was at Wembley, that was at the Carl Froch, George Groves.
I can't remember, mate, if I'm quite honest.
I think that would definitely like Dirrell and Boutte, the ones that stand out. For Badou Jack, Anthony Dirrell, I remember Anthony Dirrell was the favourite in that.
Yeah.
And, George Groves, I think, was the slight favourite in that one as well. And then obviously Lucien Boutte was a draw. I didn't actually see the Lucien Boutte fight, but from what I hear, he was quite lucky to get a draw in that fight.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing you got to give Badou Jack, I know it's a split decision, but a lot of people in the UK especially are writing him off and have really, really got Degale as the heavy favourite in this fight.
Yeah.
I personally do have Degale as a favourite. There's no arguments against that, but Badou Jack did beat George Groves. The judges, by all accounts, we've got to say, hopefully judged it fairly, and that's proved that essentially he's a good boxer. George Groves, I think, is a very good boxer. Whether he's better than Degale, I don't know. These days, I say probably not. Technically, maybe in certain aspects he is, but
it was a very close fight, that one, wasn't it, with George Groves. It could have gone either way.
Yeah, it could have, but at the same time, it still proved that Badou Jack is definitely a force to be reckoned with, and you can't. I don't think you can rule him out in the way that some of the media have, and even some of my friends have. They think that Degale's going to go and stomp him, and I just don't think that's going to be the case at all.
No way. One thing I'd say about Badou Jack, he's in all these fights, whether like George Groves, Lucien Boutte, Anthony Dirrell, all of them good fighters, and they're always close. You know, whether he gets the decision or it's a draw, it's a tough fight for anyone. There's no way you're going to be in for an easy night's work against him. I think that. Well, I remember the Anthony Dirrell fight. I think he was. I don't know how big a favourite Anthony Dirrell was, but he was the favourite. But I remember Anthony Dirrell. He's kind of one of those typical loudmouth characters who gives it a lot, but then once you don't really just crumble to that, then he doesn't really do much. And I think that happened in the Badou Jack fight. Badou Jack's quite determined, quite relentless, and I think he came out. He was giving it a lot of mouth in the weigh-in, the press conference. Badou Jack's pretty quiet, and he came out in the first few rounds like throwing some big punches. Badou Jack was still there, just coming forward, tight guard, solid, and just really Dirrell just, I wouldn't say buckled, but he just fizzled out basically, and it was still a close-ish fight.
Yeah,
he was there for 12 rounds, just kind of on you the whole time. Exactly the same with George Groves. George Groves, we know, hits hard, he's fast, got quick hands, quick feet, but he's just pushed a very hard pace, Badou Jack. And that's just what I expect in this fight. I don't think it's going to be easy for Degale at all.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. Like what you basically just said, Badou Jack has a great engine. From what I've seen, he's got a really high punch output. So it'd be great to see. I mean, like he's a come forward fighter, and like tactically, would you sit there and say to your fighter if he's fighting James Degale to come forward in the way that he has done in past fights? Probably not. I can see him coming out with a slightly different tactics, which would be interesting to see. Degale, so we've spoken a lot about Badou Jack. I mean, Degale, he's got massive punching power. He can grind out certain rounds. He's got some good combos. In my eyes, I don't think I've ever seen James Degale get rocked, to be honest.
No, he is solid. He's got a good chin. I mean, he took some big punches in that in his last fight. That's one thing he does. Everybody says it, but just spends a lot of time kind of relaxing on the ropes. And he's got a kind of defence where it looks flashy, but it's not really that effective all the time. Do you know what I mean? He gets hit quite a lot. He does quite a lot of like switching, and he'll be like, bobbing and weaving and kind of flashy defence. And he does avoid some punches like that. And when he does do that, it looks good. But at the same time, he gets hit quite a lot. He gets hit quite a lot for like an Olympic gold medalist. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean,
someone as talented as he is, he kind of gets a bit sloppy.
Yeah. Like, I mean, exactly. Like, he starts strong, and then, yeah, he seems to kind of take his foot off the gas in certain rounds, and they're the
Yeah.
rounds he's going to be prone to losing in this fight. I think another thing to point out as well, like James Degale, if you like look across his career, he's knocked out people for fun. But in his last 3 fights, they've all gone the distance, and I think equally so
Yeah.
for Badou Jack. I believe. I think both
Well,
fighters, ever since they've got their titles, I believe, and I'm not. This isn't factual, but I know for James DeGale it is. But they've both their last 3 fights gone 12 rounds. So it's obviously shown how much obviously the belt means to them, and how much having a belt changes the way you fight tactically.
well, I would say as well. I would slightly disagree when you say he's like a big puncher. I think he's a decent puncher, but I don't think he's like a real power puncher. The Gale. He's got kind of quite good combinations. But he tends to. He got sort of chops almost with his punches sometimes.
Yeah,
Right.
I think that's I think where one of his biggest strengths lies is in how aggressive he can be, and in my eyes, I think that's what we haven't seen enough in his last couple of fights, personally.
Well, I think a lot. Yeah, a lot of the times you don't see his punches coming. They're kind of like Badou Jack is very. When I say basic, I don't mean that in a negative way, because that's not necessarily a bad thing. He's got very good sort of solid fundamentals. Like he's got like a very solid defense, like tight guard, strong. And he's got like good jab. When he does throw his punches, he doesn't really leave that many openings. So it's kind of straightforward, but it is effective. Whereas James DeGale, he's a lot more unorthodox. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes he throws punches from strange angles, like because he's switching all the time as well. That makes it very difficult to know where they're coming from. Andre Durrell, he got hit with he didn't see that punch coming because it just came from. It's like a cricket, like he's bowling a cricket ball or something. You know what I mean, like a crazy like overhand right. So he does land with these like mad punches sometimes. So I think there is a possibility he could catch Badou Jack with a couple of them, because Badou Jack's got a sort of defense which is it's perfect for like traditional boxing. When you've got someone like James DeGale like sort of throwing these weird like punches from crazy angles, he might be open to them.
Yeah, definitely. And that moves on to like a really good question. So like, how do you see the fight kind of starting and then progressing? What way do you see that going?
Well, one thing I would say, James DeGale, in recent fights, he's had stamina issues, hasn't he? He's kind of been a bit, he spent a bit of time on the ropes, getting a bit lazy, taking time off during rounds. So he looks to be in very good shape. I think he's trying to improve on that, and I think he sort of excels on the big stage, James DeGale. I think this is the biggest fight he's been in. You can say the George Groves fight was because at that time it was a similar, but this is obviously much bigger on a world level.
Yeah.
I think he's a very, very confident man, to the point of being arrogant, really, James DeGale. And that's something that kind of, I don't know whether that sort of works for him, against him, maybe a bit of both. You've seen him like in that Medina fight, the way he was talking before that, he was just talking really disrespectful, as if Medina wasn't fit to carry a spit bucket.
Yeah.
Against George Groves, he was talking as if he only had to turn up and they were going to give him the win, and you saw what happened there. So I think he's going to come out really looking to impress James DeGale. I think he's going to win the early rounds, definitely, just through his more eye-catching work. And he throws like good combinations, like head, body, switching while he does it. I think he's going to definitely like rack up the early rounds. It's just if Badou Jack can come into it enough towards the end with his better stamina, and if James DeGale is on the ropes, even if he's not getting hit with much, it doesn't look good to the judges. You know, Badou Jack's like throwing and he's there like sort of ducking and diving, but giving the impression he's getting hit. I think that could work against him. But yeah, sorry, I'm kind of waffling. Your original question, how do I think it's going to start?
Well, it wasn't how's it going to start. I said how's it going to start and how's it going to progress from there.
Well, I think James DeGale's definitely going to come out. He's going to win the first half of the fight quite comfortably. That's what I think. I think he's going to put on a bit of a show. I think he's going to be flashy. But then I think that's when Badou Jack is going to really test his stamina and his will. Because against Anthony Durrell, he managed to kind of take the fight out of him a bit, Badou Jack, through his just determination and his tenacity. But Anthony Durrell is a very different character to James Degale. I think James Degale's much more. He's got much more fight in him. Anthony Durrell, he's kind of a bit like his brother. He sort of gives up. He can get disheartened. James Degale, I don't see that with him. I think he's going to be there fighting till the end, as long as he's got the energy to do it.
Yeah, he's certainly got the pride. I mean, to be honest, I agree with pretty much everything you said there. I couldn't have put it differently myself. What percentage do you give there for being a knockdown in the fight? Do you think there's any chance?
Um, I I think there's a chance of. I think it's more likely that Badou Jack will get knocked down. I mean, he's been knocked out before, hasn't he?
Yes.
James Degale, I've seen him take some very hard punches. I could see it happening actually, because I say, although I do rate the defence of Badou Jack, I can see with these kind of unorthodox angles, I could see him catching him a bit like he did Durrell.
What, early on?
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think Badou Jack's the best chances in this fight? To take it like me, you're kind of favouring Degale.
I'm favouring Degale. I mean, Badou Jack's best chance in this fight is to not lose the first couple of rounds. Really, like everyone expects Degale to win 1 and 2 at least, and possibly 3. I think Badou Jack, needs to sit there. He needs to nick 1 or 2. He needs to unsettle Degale. I think once Degale gets settled, I think that puts Badou Jack in a very bad position to win the fight. I think he needs to be able to switch things up. So when he's on the back foot, he needs to be very clever. He needs to obviously watch out for the kind of sluggish punches that Degale's going to swing from, like you said, wide angles. But essentially, I, when it comes down to it, I just don't think that he's got enough in his locker to deal with what Degale's going to bring. But again, Degale, I don't know. It depends whether he shows up on the night. Like we said earlier, he's very prone to having some weak rounds. So let's hope that he doesn't have too many of them.
One advantage I would give to Degale as well, I think it's easier to prepare for Badou Jack than it is to prepare for James Degale. I think it's easier to kind of emulate Badou Jack's style than it is to emulate James Degale. And the fact that he's always switching stances, he mixes it up quite a lot, Degale. So he's going to give him more looks. It's more to think about. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally agree. So moving on, which I think is a really interesting topic. I know there's mandatories and etc., but they can get thrown out the window depending on what the bigger money fights are, etc. Who do you think the winner of this fights? Who do you think that guy is?
Well, I think like you said, like the mandatory with Callum Smith.
Exactly. Yeah.
You've also got Gilberto Ramirez in there, who he injured his hand, didn't he? Had that great performance against Arthur Abraham. He looks very. Have you seen much of him, Ramirez?
I haven't seen too much of him. I've seen some highlights. He looks good. He's quite tall, isn't he? And, he looks. I don't know how he makes the weight, if I'm quite honest, but I know he looks lean, but he just it's like Callum Smith. Callum Smith looks very lean, but he's very tall, and it almost looks like he kills himself to make the weight, doesn't it?
I mean, those two for me, Ramirez and Smith. I mean, I'd like to see those two fight each other. Obviously, if you're Callum Smith, then you're mandatory to this. Not that he'd turn his nose up at a shot at Ramirez's title, but I do think those two are the ones to challenge these two. Obviously, George Groves as well. George Groves beat James Degale in a controversial decision a long time ago. Lost to Badou Jack in a controversial decision not that long ago. So you'd say they're all kind of similar-ish, aren't they, in terms of their performances against each other?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'd absolutely love to see James Degale come back with the titles and square off with Callum Smith, because I think Callum Smith, for me, I think he's an absolutely cracking fighter. I think he could cause Degale all sorts of problems. Not saying he'd win the fight, but I think he's got enough in his locker. I think that him versus Badou Jack would be a brilliant fight as well. I don't think any fighter like conclusively beats him without any argument. So yeah, it's a fight that would be massive over here, wouldn't it? It'd be huge.
Yeah, and he's due his shot, Callum Smith. He's been there or thereabouts for a while, kind of slowly going, or quietly, should I say, going about his business, but he has looked very good. So yeah, definitely I'd like to see him in there with the winner of this. And George Groves, I mean, he's fighting, is it Tudornoff? Is he fighting, I think?
Is
So,
he? I
think
I might have heard that a while back, but I haven't really been following Groves. I'm not gonna lie. You know.
Yeah. Well, I think he's fighting. I'm not sure which I can't remember now which belt it is. But if he wins that, which he could well do against Tudornoff, then you could have a unification fight against James Degale or Badou Jack.
Yeah. If he doesn't beat Fedor Tudornoff, then that's it. That's it for George Groves, isn't it? I mean, he really should be beating him in my eyes. I think he's a far superior fighter. Fedor Tudornoff's, he hasn't even had that many fights, has he? From what I remember, he's had less than 20 fights for sure.
I think Groves has looked better as well under Shane McGuigan. He's improved a lot. I think he had a very good performance against Murray. Very good performance against the German. Well, I think he's actually still in a coma. I mean, I hope not, but I know he's in a very bad way after that fight.
Yeah.
So George Groves, yeah, he's definitely in the mix. And to be honest, the loser of this fight, because I can't see it being a one-sided battering either way. Whoever wins, whoever loses, I think is going to put up a very good fight. So there's no reason why a loss for either of these two should be the end of the world. We know how modern boxing is, but it shouldn't be. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I still have a lot of time for Badou Jack or James Degale if they lose. I'd be very interested to see them, depending on what happens. But if what happens is what I think will happen, then I'd be very interested to see them fight against Ramirez, Groves, Callum Smith, whoever, winner or loser.
Yeah, well, like you said, there's big money fights for the loser, regardless. And where there's big money, people will take the fight. It's as simple as that. Regardless of who's got the belts. So, yeah, I totally agree.
All right, then we'll final prediction then before we go. So, what's your final prediction for this?
I think it's going 12 rounds. I'd love to see a knockdown. I'll give it a 60% chance. Well, I'll give it a 50% chance for James Degale to knock him down once. And then I see Degale either winning 8-4 or 7-5. It seems like I always say that. I think there's a possibility Degale could actually do a 9-3 on him, but I don't know. I'm going to sit just in the middle. I'm going to sit with 8-4 Degale. Unanimous decision.
What about a draw? How likely is a draw?
I wouldn't bet against a draw. I just through personal opinion, I think Degale's better than Badou Jack in pretty much every aspect of boxing.
Yeah.
So
the only worry for me with Degale is if he does get on the ropes too much and just it gives the impression that he's taking punches when really he isn't. And because it's in America, because he's under Floyd Mayweather's promotional banner, he could potentially get a few of the swing rounds. I think it's going to be a close fight. I think James Degale's come in very good shape. I think he's really determined. He really wants to put on a show. I'm very hungry for this. So I think James Degale's going to win. I think it's going to be closer. I think it's going to be 7-5 kind of fight. Possibly with a knockdown, though. I wouldn't be surprised if he does knock Badou Jack down. I don't think he will, but I wouldn't be that surprised. So I'm going for James Degale on points. Not just because I'm biased and I'm English. I do think that he has all the tools. It's his fight to lose, really. I think if he turns up, stays focused and does what he can do, I think he's going to win 7-5.
I think that's a good analysis. I'll still stick with my 8-4. I think it'd be interesting to see after fight night how it goes. But yeah, I think it's definitely one to watch. And like you said, probably will actually sleep and give that one a watch in the morning. I think.
Yeah, probably the best watch, is it?
If it's at 6 AM, then yeah, there's no chance I'm staying up for that. But
what happens with me when I do that? I stay up for it, and then after the first round, I just pass out on the sofa.
Get too pissed.
Yeah.
Right,
Sound my fault. what we'll do then, if you want, like after when this fight's over, we can do another show talking about the options for the winner and the loser. Talk about the sort of super middleweight scene, really, where they go from here, Groves, Ramirez, etc. If you fancy that.
Yeah, I think that sounds good. I think yeah, we can speak about who the winner's gonna fight against, and then yeah, analyse that. I think that'd be very interesting. And I think we're likely both to. It's probably going to be Callum Smith, isn't it? So
Yeah.
yeah, looking into that would be very, 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 very cool.
Cool.
So, do you want to tie it
Oh,
up?
yeah, mate. Well, okay. So you're going for we both agree. We think that Chunky is going to win on points, but in a close fight.
In a close fight.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, if we were to see a mid to late knockout from Degale, then yeah,
You're not
that'd be the don. But can't see it happening.
cool. All right, then, mate. Well, I'll speak to you soon, and we'll be back. We're back on it for the kind of after fight afterthought.
Yeah, sounds good. And then we also want to do Thurman Garcia, don't we?
Yeah, yeah, we do.
Okay, cool.
All right, then, mate. Cheers for coming on.
Thank you. And I'll speak to you soon.
Speak to you soon, mate. Bye.